Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to give you a midsummer tour of the gardens. We'll start with the True Rock Garden. I gotta get in here and weed. The problem with weeding this is if I pull out something like that, it's going to yank out a big bunch of soil. We want to get to the point where these hens and chicks are taking up big areas, and I want to get some June grass growing in here. A nice petite grass, not this weed like that. So I'll have to get back here a little later today. Again, this year has just been so wet. It's really hard to get stuff done. Little update on the buffalo grass. All that yellow stuff is yellow foxtail, and it's really yellow like that because it's been sprayed. It's dying, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of weeds in there. I sprayed all the weeds as well. Got a little bit of, what is this, woodcress, I believe. Got a little bit of that coming back, but for the most part, the buffalo grass is doing real well. All right, let's check out the rest of the gardens. More buffalo grass and more dying yellow foxtail. If you've seen the video from, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, I thinned out these apple trees, and when I did that, the apples got like twice the size within a week. This one isn't as spectacular as the Honeycrisp. I'll show you that one as we go by it, but it's still doing really nice. Okay. Cornflowers, red, white, and blue, doing really well. I weed occasionally as I walk by, if I walk by. These, I believe, are zinnias just from volunteer seeds from last year and the year before. Yeah, that's what those are. And we got a big foxtail right there. I'll go yank that out. Yeah, unbelievable how big that got. I walked through here maybe 2 days ago and yanked out any weeds that I saw. But I kind of like this red, white, and blue, but we're not going to be able to do this like this next year. I'm going to be restarting the work in the dwarf orchard. I got this stone right here. I'll probably get one more batch of stone. That should be enough to take the walkway, up into here somewhere, and I'll have a step going down and a little walkway going over that way. And then I'm just going to mark the edges of the paths. I can't finish them this year, just don't have the time. But I'll mark the edges, and I'll get the buffalo grass like that over there. Buffalo grass and blue grama grass planted in here. I'll show you this real quick. Those are my trees. Yeah, this one is doing pretty nice. Got all those brand new leaves. Okay, on to the other gardens. I should point this out as well. This is the purple love grass that I planted last year by seed. There's some other weedy grasses in there, but I decided to just let it go. And in the fall, when the purple love grass starts to die back and the other stuff is green, I'll spray it with glyphosate and get rid of the other stuff. But this is going to look just gorgeous. I got to get that area right there planted. The seed does not cost all that much. When I first planted this stuff years ago, I think it's been at least 4 years. I planted this, or I started this as seedlings, and I planted individual plants here. This is just going to get insanely gorgeous in a little while. You could see it starting, but this entire area gets to be like a big puff ball of purple. Really cool looking. And again, the buffalo grass that was planted last year filled in really nicely, and it's spilling over onto the stairway. I'm going to be filling all the gaps on the stairway and packing the dirt in and planting moss in there to keep the weeds out of there, and it'll look cool. And we're going to be planting hens and chicks in that opening right there, and probably in these 2 openings as well. We'll see on that. But before we do that, we're going to be making the last of the steps here, going up that way. There won't be flowers here next year. That'll be like a walkway going around the edge. And then we're going to continue. There's going to be a wall going there, a step up, and then the pathway with the flagstones and a small wall, so you would step up to get at the trees. Should be pretty interesting, and a lot of that stuff is going to be figured out when we get there. Last year, I took a string and made a radius around where the path is going to go, but I couldn't get to it. So I'm going to do that again, and our path is going to go around the tree over to the espalier, and then off that way between the trees over to the rock pile and stuff over that way. Very cool stuff. All right, we'll walk down the ditch garden and come back up the other side, and I'll show you everything that's going on right now. This is the June grass that I want to plant in the rock garden. I need to collect the seeds from that in a little bit. We got some June grass here too, but it's got, oh, this is a rye. I'm not sure what type of rye, but that's a rye. These lilies and other stuff that were planted here are the oldest stuff that were planted here, and the cone flowers are starting to take over. Oh, I really need to get rid of this. This is milkweed, and milkweed gets very invasive. It'll take over the whole area. I'm going to yank those out of here. Didn't even notice them. They grow that fast. A lot of this stuff, I don't even know what the heck it is. All of the flowers are perennials or annual volunteers. I did not, oh, actually I did. I threw what was left of that red, white, and blue cornflower or bachelor's button. I threw what was left in here, but it didn't do super well. Not like it did up in the dwarf orchard there. This is a native that's fleabane. Got another big yellow foxtail there that needs to come out. I just don't want that dumping thousands of seeds. This is a wild sunflower. We got a good amount of them right in here. And in the final version of this garden, those are going to stay. In the fall, I'm going to be planting this whole front area with native grasses, buffalo grass, and blue grama, and side oats grama. And then after that, whatever flowers grow are going to grow, and I'll spray it to control the weeds. And eventually, it's going to naturalize. Like this area right here is already naturalizing. I wish it didn't have some of them vines, but I can get rid of the vines just by spraying, and if I kill any of the coneflower or any of the black-eyed Susan or anything like that, a new one will come and take its place. You can see the ground is just littered with volunteers for that. So if I were to kill this one right here, 10 more would come up in its place. That back there, all that wispy stuff is cosmos, and that's all volunteer. I haven't planted cosmos here in, this will be 3 years this year. I used to spread a wildflower mix every year, and I haven't done that for 3 years. Like I said, I did plant a couple things in here last year and this year, and this year it was the coneflowers, or not coneflowers, cornflowers. Yeah, this is not quite in its prime, but if I come out here, in 2 weeks, a whole lot of this stuff may not be flowering anymore, and something different will be flowering. That big jungle right there is all sunflowers. I planted those for my wife. She has sunflowers all over in the house, but we wanted to have a big display of sunflowers this year, and that area right there is the vegetable garden. I'll show you that on the way back around. That will be containerized next year. Well, we're going to further the containers next year. We have one container right now for flowers, and we're going to add 1 or 2, maybe 3 every year until that's all containers. This is wild lettuce. It's a weed that we get a good amount of around here. Yeah, my pathway is still working pretty good. I figured at some point these are going to close in on it, but I do need to get out here and spray. See, that is a volunteer right there. One there, one there. I mean, these volunteers are everywhere. If I come through and spray this and kill these all back, there'll be new ones in 2 weeks or so. This right here is purple prairie clover, and there's a white version of that as well. That's a native clover. And more of that wild lettuce. That's just nasty stuff. When I first started this garden, there was thousands of those in the garden. You know, the whole disturbed soil thing. When you disturb soil, like if you killed all of your lawn, the first thing that'll come back is all weeds. I don't know what those are. I think there's something mallow, those white ones there. Pretty cool looking. And I don't know if that was part of one of the mixes that I used here, or if that's just a native. Yeah, we got foxtail with seed heads on them right there. I'm going to come back and get those out of here right away. And we don't want any of this either. This is wild carrot. You can tell by the little black center. People think it's Queen Anne's lace, but it's not. It's a really, really invasive, non-native. We got a little bit of it there too, but I've been trying to get rid of it over the last few years, and I did a pretty good job in the ditch here. Once I get this to where it's on its own, I'll have a lot less to do here. This right here is a prairie dropseed, native grass, going to seed. Oh, I can smell it. My sense of smell went away with a little bout with COVID, but it's starting to come back. This smells exactly like buttered popcorn. It is so bizarre. Really nice smell. I would highly recommend Prairie Dropseed, but you got to have patience because that takes about 5 years to be in its prime. If you buy one from the store in a pot and get a bigger one, I believe they're like 2 years old then. So when you plant them, you got 2-3 years before they start looking really nice like this. These were planted from seed, and they're either 4 or 5 years old. There's a few of them all through the garden here, but that appears to be the nicest. Yeah, that one right there is like 1/10 the size. There's one down in here as well. I think that one's just a lot bigger because it's mulched around it, so it doesn't have a bunch of weeds, and it's in the back there. Yeah, there's another one there, another one there, another one there, another one there. Oh, and there's another big one back there. Yeah, I sprayed around these this year. Just went in with Weed Stop and sprayed all the way around them, and it killed all the weeds within them, but Weed Stop doesn't kill grass, so they survived and the weeds didn't. I'll probably do that same thing with some of these. I don't care about the other grasses, but that right there with the little colorful heads, that's smartweed, and it's a pain in the butt weed. Again, with the native sunflowers. And I might be getting this wrong, but I think the orange and yellow ones back there, I think that's Coreopsis. But if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. There's another Prairie Dropseed, another beautiful one. Yeah, I'm going to get through here and do a little bit of weeding today. I'm just going to get rid of the stuff that's real close to going to seed and get it out of here. I have a ton of other stuff to do, and it is really hot today. Look at all them bees. Those are native bees. Some people call them bumblebees, the big black and yellow ones. And there's a few that have different looks than that. The honeybees that are around are not native. Those are from like North Africa or whatever. So when people are going nuts about the bees dying, they're not native to start with. And these are regular coneflowers, regular purple coneflowers, and the ones right over here are pale purple coneflowers. They're a native to Wisconsin. You can see they're fading. Those flower first, and then the pale purple coneflower, or then the purple coneflowers flower right after that. They're both natives, but the pale ones are a lot harder to find in nature. They were on a watch list for a while, but not anymore. A deer were sitting in there, mashed it all down. We had a fuzzy buck. He's got his little horns full of fuzz. He was walking around here eating grapes and eating blueberries and just being a little pain in the butt. This is side oats grandma. It's probably the easiest of the native grasses to collect seed from. You just grab a whole handful and rip it off, and you got a whole bunch of them. This is big blue stem. This is a volunteer. We get a lot of volunteers of big blue stem because it spreads really easy. Got another weed in there. With a lot of these weeds, I can get in here with Weed Stop and spray them. But like these right here, if I don't want to kill these cosmos, I got to go in there and yank those by hand. and I'm definitely not going to be doing that today. It's a little too warm for that. This is a volunteer June grass. We have some volunteers like this along the road down there and further down in the ditch as well. And the only ones I planted, and this was, probably 6 years ago, were those first ones that I showed you up on the corner there. It's possible that I spread these seeds though, because every year I go around and yank off a bunch of seeds and then I toss them here and there. So it's possible that I spread them, but I don't really know. Same thing with this. This is side oats grandma, like that right there. I did not plant this here, but I don't know. I could have tossed seed and it grew here as well. That's side oats grandma as well. And in the final version of these gardens, it's going to have that side oats grandma, blue grandma, and buffalo grass growing in between all of these bigger grasses and the flowers. More Gaillardia and black-eyed Susan, and there's brown-eyed Susan in here as well. A little bit of volunteer flowers. This right here is chicory. This grows everywhere around here along the roads. If they don't come and cut it in time, the sides of the roads will be solid chicory. It's got a lot of uses in medicine and stuff, and I really don't weed that out unless it gets to be like too prevalent in an area. Yeah, we got side oats grandma there. Lots of side oats grandma, which is a good thing. I haven't done a lot of planting in here at all. I planted right up to that edge and then a couple out here, and the majority of this stuff is volunteer or from me tossing seed at the end of the year. Like, I didn't plant any of this stuff. And I don't even know like what this is right here. It could be a native grass. It could just be bluegrass from the lawn. But at some point, I'm not going to pay that no never mind and just let what grows grow. Yeah, this is pretty much the look I'm looking for, but with a few more flowers. And we are getting there quick. I believe these are Gaillardia that are just stunted because they're growing on top of a rock. The cliff is right here. You could see the top of it right there. But there's only like an inch or two of gravel and a little bit of dirt right here. So it kind of stunts the growth. But I think that's a cool look. Yeah, this is a weed. We got so many of these. And here's that wild lettuce again. Whenever I'm walking by here, I yank out any like patches of it that look like they're getting too big. And whenever I'm spraying, like I could spray this entire area with Weed Stop and it'll kill all these weeds and leave the grass alone, which is what I want in a lot of areas. What I don't want is this wild carrot. We have wild carrot and wild parsnip. I ripped the root and it'll probably come back, but eventually we'll get rid of that. This just has such a beautiful look this time of year. It is July 12th, maybe 13th. I really like this red top stuff. I did plant a grass called red top, and I don't know if this is it or not, but it's growing in the field, you could see that like red mist throughout the field. It's in the field over there, and it's in the field up there as well. So I don't know if it's a native grass. It really does not look like something a farmer would plant, like a forage grass, because it's pretty wimpy. You know, they generally plant big hefty grasses. All right, not a huge amount to see in this area here down to the corner, so we'll head down there and come back up the other side and look at the bigger grasses. Quick look at the vineyard. I'll be spraying that in a few minutes after I make this video. You could see, oh, maybe you can't see, but there's mushrooms coming up everywhere. That's because of the decaying roots from the old vines. Little bit of water and a little bit of decay, and you get a ton of mushrooms like that. Again, that purple haze from, I believe it's red top, but I can't say for sure. Big blue stem. These can be really colorful later on in the year. I believe that's big blue stem as well. Little blue stem, very colorful already. And big blue stem again. The big blue stem really spreads quickly. I don't know if I would plant any of it in like a mixed garden like this if I had to do it again. I believe that's little blue stem, but could be big blue stem as well. This was originally planted with all little blue stem, and then I added in other grasses like big blue stem, Indian grass, and a couple rye's. I planted some other stuff along the front that didn't make it. But yeah, a lot of this is little blue stem. Little blue stem gets about 4 feet tall and then has seed heads that go up to about 6 feet tall. Big blue stem gets about 6 feet tall to 8 feet tall and can have seed heads that go up to 12 feet. Big blue stem is massive. Yeah, this is all little blue stem right here. So I don't know. It's hard to tell at this time of year, but that could be either big blue stem or Indian grass. Now that I'm looking at it, I think these taller, coarser ones here, I think those are Indian grass. And the big blue stem is the taller stuff there. And like right there. Yeah, I think this is Indian grass. That is definitely little blue stem down in front there. I hope it doesn't get choked out. There was a patch of weeds right here. Whenever you burn, the weeds try to make a comeback until you can get shorter grasses growing there. This will be planted with the shorter grasses later this year, but until then, all I got to do is spray it with Weed Stop, and it'll kill not only the broadleaf weeds, but the weedy grasses as well. Yeah, these native grasses are really, really gorgeous in late summer and throughout the fall and all through winter. Oh, wow, this is interesting. This is bottlebrush grass. I planted that kind of over the side of the hill in the shade of the walnut tree there, and I've never put that anywhere else. And I have that on my list to go back there and see if that's still growing there and collect the seed. So I'm going to come back here. Not a whole lot of seeds there, but it's enough to spread somewhere. Okay, final look at the tall grasses.